In the next few minutes, we will talk about the occult foundations of the war in Iran and about the attempt to hijack Christianity in the name of the false Messiah. Whether or not you consider yourself religious or spiritual, what follows concerns you intimately. Why? Because those who ignited this war, the war in Iran, are utterly convinced that their destiny is that of the chosen ones to usher the apocalypse. Here, accompanied by recordings and evidence, are the 21 crucial sequences to truly grasp what is unfolding in our world. I urge you to stay until the end, for the narrative swells to a crescendo, and every thread will be woven together at the conclusion. From the fourth sequence onward, events become ever more intense. So let's begin. 1. At the very onset of the Iran war, Trump himself shared a clip from 2007 in which Kim Clement, the so-called singing prophet, recounts a vision. He was told, God will make Trump a trumpet. Here is the recording, shared by Trump himself just a few days after the start of the Iran war.
Trump shall become a trumpet, says the Lord. No, you didn't hear me. Trump shall become a trumpet. Are you listening to me? I will raise up the trump to become a trumpet.
What does it mean to call Trump a trumpet? It is a reference to the era of the 7 trumpets in the book of Revelation. Trump, along with his circle, believes his presidency fulfills the role of the 7th trumpet, the one that heralds the 3rd woe. In the tapestry of apocalyptic events, this is the very moment when the trinity of evil emerges, the beast from the sea and the beast from the earth, both steered by the Lord of darkness. Soon you will see why the 7th trumpet holds so much weight. The second element. Now, consider Trump's proclamation of himself as the apocalyptic trumpet, alongside the testimony of hundreds of American soldiers, who say their superiors assured them there is no cause for fear, for this war in Iran is ordained by God, woven into the very fabric of the apocalypse. Trump, they were told, was chosen by Jesus to ignite the conflict as an act of Armageddon.
Anyone that wants to take the stage and talk about dual loyalty is dead wrong. What this organization represents, what Western civilization represents today, is an understanding that Zionism and Americanism are the front lines of Western civilization and freedom in our world today.
3. Here stands Pete Hegseth, the America's Secretary of War, the chief of the Pentagon, who speaks with a relish, almost as though savoring a sweet delicacy, of raining death and destruction from the heavens upon Iran. He warns the Iranians who, in his words, only imagine that they will live. This very Hegseth, in 2018, on Israeli soil, called for the building of the Third Temple, and a year later proclaimed Zionism and Americanism to be the front lines of civilization and freedom.
Death and destruction from the sky all day long. Flying over Tehran, flying over Iran, flying over their capital, controlling the skies, picking targets, death and destruction from the sky all day long. And Iran will be able to do nothing about it. But the only ones that need to be worried right now are Iranians that think they're going to live.
And there's no reason why the miracle of the reestablishment of the temple on the Temple Mount is not possible. Do what needs to be done here in Israel, because I truly believe this is a moment where America will have your back. You have Donald Trump in the White House. You have true believers in Israel and America that have your back.
We unleash overwhelming and punishing violence on the enemy. We also don't fight with stupid rules of engagement. We untie the hands of our warfighters to intimidate, demoralize, hunt, and kill.
Just days ago, after the US military bombed a school, claiming the lives of 164 girls, Hexeth, in blasphemous fashion, invoked the Psalms, beseeching God to bless his hands for battle. Blessed be the Lord, my rock, who trains my hands for battle and my fingers for war.
Scripture drawing strength from Psalm 144. Blessed be the Lord, my rock, who trains my hands for war and my fingers for battle.
4. As I mentioned, from this pivotal moment, events spiral into the surreal. In 2024, Trump prayed at the grave of the 7th Chabad Lubavitch Grand Rabbi, Menahem Mendel Schneerson. Chabad, the most influential branch of Hasidic Judaism, draws from the Torah, the Talmud, and the mysteries of the Kabbalah. Grand Rabbi Schneerson, grounding all his oratory in the cult's foundational text, the Tanya, penned by Chabad's first Grand Rabbi, insisted upon a profound distinction between Jew and non-Jew. Jews, he taught, possess two souls, one merely human, the other divine and holy. Non-Jews, by contrast, have but a single soul, springing from the three impure kalipos, unclean shells, which are unkosher, devoid of goodness, and rooted in the realm of evil. Five. Here is a brief filmed exchange between Netanyahu and Grand Rabbi Schneerson of Chabad, the very grave where Trump offered his prayers. The rabbi urges Netanyahu to hasten the coming of the Jewish Messiah through greater action.
בכל העניינים. בזמן שישראל לאחרונה ניתצו כמה עניינים. מה שלא יעוד, וגם מצב שעדיין משיח ליבו. אז הייתה משהו ממה ידיעתו. הכנראה שהיא מספיק, כאילו שהיום כבר כמה שעות בליל עדיין ליבו. אבל יש עוד כמה שעות, אבל יש להשתדל גם היום, בבשורות טובות. זה שמחה וטוב לבוא. רק כדי שחסידים מקפידים שכל ימנים את שמחה. בשורות טובות, הצלחה רבה.
6. Another Chabad rabbi, Iser Weisberg, proclaims that Trump's survival after an attempt on his life was no accident. He is the chosen one, destined to place America at the feet of the Jewish Messiah and sweep away the enemies of Israel.
And the fact that President Trump turned his head a mere second before the shot grazed his ear was clearly miraculous. I believe this man was chosen to be the one to represent Western society in greeting the Messiah in Jerusalem, chosen to bow his head in humility to Mashiach and to offer America's complete unconditional assistance to completely eradicate all of the enemies of the Jews and of God, and in the establishment of the eternal kingdom of the Messiah, son of David, who will lead all of mankind.
7. From the opening hours of this conflict, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu invoked the ancient spectre of Amalek, likening Iran to the biblical foe vanquished by the Israelites of old. Donald Trump, for his part, declared all Iranians to be a people marked by terror, hatred, and genetic flaw, proclaiming it a singular honor to resolve the problem.
But they really are a nation of terror and hate, and they're paying a big price right now.
We read in this week's Torah portions, remember what Amalek did to you. We remember and we act.
It's not the first time this reference is made by Netanyahu to justify violence against an adversary. In fact, his reference to Palestinians as Amalek was cited during hearings in the genocide case against Israel at the International Court of Justice.
8. The same Chabad rabbi, Isser Weisberg, expresses elation at the assault on Iran, claiming it to be the final requirement before the appearance and coronation of the Jewish Messiah.
I'm super excited because what we're experiencing these days, the incredible, miraculous attack that the Israeli army is perpetrating against Iran, and the incredible success that they're having. It's all God's miracles, but I'm so excited because this is the last box that had to be checked. The last thing that had to happen before Mashiach comes was this attack with Iran, and there are so many prophecies that are all coming together.
9. Chabad Rabbi Isser Weisberg further asserts that the 7th Grand Rabbi of Chabad, Schneerson, though departed since 1994, sent a message to Netanyahu in 2025 via Argentina's president, Javier Milei, himself a zealous supporter of Chabad, urging him to strike and vanquish Iran in fulfillment of prophecy.
And the Rebbe wanted to remind him about that bracha that the Rebbe gave him back in 1988. So the Rebbe sent his shliach. This time his shliach was a non-Jew, the president of Argentina. And he gave him a gift. An artist made a picture. It was taken from a photograph, but he made a beautiful picture. I'll put some links in the description. You'll see exactly. He gave him a picture of that time when he went to the Rebbe in 1988, and the Rebbe gave him this blessing. And with that, the Rebbe encouraged Netanyahu, remember that blessing I gave you? Now you need to use it. Don't be afraid. Go ahead and destroy Iran. You must do it. And Netanyahu remembered it, and he told him he remembers how he saw the Rebbe had such prophetic powers, and he mentioned clearly that he recognized that this was a prophecy.
That's it. That's it. That's it. So you know what he told me in this meeting?
10. Chabad Rabbi Isser Weisberg claims that the appointed hour for prophecy's fulfillment is October 2027, within Trump's presidency. He insists Trump has been chosen to aid in constructing the Third Temple and establishing the Kingdom of Israel, destined to reign over all nations. He even invokes gematria, declaring Trump's number the same of David's.
We have clarified in several videos that the absolute deadline for the redemption is by the end of the Jewish year 5787, which corresponds to October 2nd, 2027. 1,167 days from today. Thus, the redemption will surely occur during Donald Trump's tenure. And I have good reason to believe Donald Trump was chosen to be the one to redeem the sins of Esav through offering his assistance in rebuilding the Holy Temple on the Temple Mount and establishing the Jewish kingdom over all of mankind in Jerusalem. Perhaps it is no accident that the numeric value of Donald Trump in Hebrew is the same as Messiah, son of David, Mashiach ben David, 424.
11. Chabad Rabbi Isser Weisberg declares Donald Trump the non-Jewish Messiah, who shall serve at the feet of the Jewish Messiah. He cites Exodus, noting that piercing the right ear marks one as a servant to the Lord of Israel.
But like the first non-Jewish Messiah, Cyrus, who was chosen to assist the Jews in re-establishing themselves in the land of Israel after their 70-year exile in Babylon, the current non-Jewish Messiah was chosen to be of service to the Jewish people and the Jewish Messiah. President Trump's right ear was grazed in a symbolic gesture of Exodus 21:6, where the Torah states that a servant who wants to remain with his master needs to have his right ear pierced. Trump was designated as God's servant and anointed one, just like Cyrus the Great almost 2,400 years ago.
12. Perhaps you would argue that such beliefs belong solely to the Chabad and have no bearing on Christianity. Yet reality tells another tale. First, consider the words of self-styled Christian Zionist Michael Evans, head of the Friends of Zion organization. In Netanyahu's presence, he speaks without reserve of training and mobilizing millions of evangelical Christians to champion Israel's cause.
We'll train these wonderful Christian evangelicals so that they can fulfill what I am doing for the state of Israel. Secondly, we're creating FOSI, an online academy to train tens of millions of evangelicals. The power of the evangelical muscle is enormous. It represents almost 1 billion people. But no one ever harnessed it. And we're doing that here. We're creating the first evangelical think tank, the first evangelical research institute, so the state of Israel will know who they are and how they can contribute to the state of Israel. We're, of course, a social network campus and much more. So that's exciting for us. The second thing I want to announce is in our Friends of Zion Museum, we are going to build the Donald Trump exhibition. No president in American history has done more for the state of Israel than Donald Trump. The Media Center is indeed a gift to Israel. You can use it, Ambassador Friedman, you can use it for any event you want for the foreign ministry, etc., because we are doing this all for Israel. It's all about Israel. We are going to train 100,000 Christian ambassadors to be ambassadors in their own country for the state of Israel, to defend Israel's brand.
13. You may wonder, did this strategy truly bear fruit? Let us see. To begin, the renowned American evangelical pastor John Hagee proclaims that Jews are set apart from all others and stand as more important even than Americans themselves.
The Jewish people are the most unique people on the face of the earth. They are a chosen people. They are a covenant people. They are a cherished people. They are the apple of God's eye, a special treasure above all the people on the face of the earth. That includes the United States of America.
14. Next, consider the words of Mike Huckabee, the US ambassador to Israel. He asserts that Jews have no need of Christians, while Christians, in contrast, cannot exist without the Jews and owe them an immeasurable debt.
I had a Jewish friend from New York ask me one time, we were in Israel together, and he said, why is it that evangelical Christians are so supportive of the Jewish people and of Israel? And I said, it's quite frankly pretty easy. I said, you can be Jewish and have nothing whatsoever to do with Christians, but I can't be a Christian and not have everything to do with the Jewish people, the Jewish faith.
15. This is strongly related to the teachings of Chabad, Hasidism, which hold that Jews possess two souls, one divine and holy, while all other peoples have but a single and impure soul. The sole hope for non-Jews in this belief is to purify themselves through servitude to those endowed with the divine. Now listen to US Senator Ted Cruz, who asserts that the Bible obliges us to support Israel, come what may.
Where does my support for Israel come from? Number one, because biblically we're commanded to support Israel. But number two...
Hold on.
I'm not holding on.
Hold on. You're a senator, and now you're throwing out theology, and I am a Christian, and I am allowed to weigh in on this. We are commanded as Christians to support the government of Israel?
We are commanded to support Israel.
16. Paula White, personal spiritual advisor to Trump and head of the White House Department of Faith, proclaims the very ground of the White House to be sacred. And to stand against Trump is, in her words, to stand against God himself.
To say no to President Trump would be saying no to God, and I won't do that.
Wherever I go, God rules. When I walk on White House grounds, God walks on White House grounds. I had every right and authority to declare the White House as holy ground because I was standing there, and where I stand is holy.
17. Once more in the presence of Netanyahu, Paula White confesses her profound honor at sharing company with those she deems divinely chosen for all humankind.
Just so honored to be sitting up here with, I believe, God's chosen for everyone.
18. And now, as a final note, we hear the US ambassador to Israel, we hear Paula White, and we hear Netanyahu himself, with Trump present, declare that God blesses those who bless Israel and curses those who curse Israel.
It's simple. So if you read in Genesis that God blesses those who bless Israel and curse those who curse Israel, this gets pretty easy.
We're not the root. We're just glad that we got on the tree. And it's so important to understand that. If you go back, of course, to Genesis 12:3, those that bless Israel will be blessed, and those who don't will be cursed.
President Trump just said it. It's also in the Bible. It says, those who will bless you will be blessed, and those who will curse you will be cursed. And that's actually what is happening.
Yet nowhere in the scriptures is such a claim made. The passage from Genesis speaks not of Israel, but of Abram, before he became Abraham, and before his lineage began. His children included not only Isaac, forebear of the Jewish tribes, but also Ishmael, father of the Arab peoples. Thus, the treaties are dubbed Abrahamic Accords. For Abraham stands as patriarch to both Jew and Arab alike. And since the Arabs too are Semites, to be anti-Semitic is by extension to be anti-Arab as well. 19. With all these threads woven together, it becomes clear why Trump, who now circulates videos casting himself as the apocalyptic trumpet of the end times, urged Christians before the last elections to rally behind him en masse, promising that never again would other elections be required. In this light, a new eschatological and apocalyptic perspective emerges to illuminate his 2024 speech.
Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed, it'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again.
20. We draw near to our conclusion with 2 final elements. First, the persecution endured by Carrie Prejean Bowler, who was dismissed from the White House Department of Religious Freedom for daring to claim her dignity and faith and freedom. She declared that branding all critics of Israel's leadership or non-Zionists as anti-Semites is unjust. And she was right.
And she said, you also cannot talk about Zionism. So Zionism, this is her words, is their right to exist. And so when you're posting about Zionism, Carrie, you're saying that the Jews don't have a right to exist.
Huh? Who had called you an anti-Semite? That's a serious slander.
Oh, yeah.
Did she name the people saying
She
that?
said, I have no idea who it is.
Oh, it's just people are saying.
I think the people was Paula White. Let's just be honest. It was Paula White.
21. Finally, recall the words of Charlie Kirk, spoken just weeks before his public assassination. He decried the Iran war as the gravest error, a war that began soon after his death, and said that he, Tucker Carlson, and other American figures were hounded and branded as anti-Semites, merely for daring to question the vast and unnatural influence Israel wields over the leadership of the United States.
Make sure we don't go to war against Iran, which would be a profound mistake for our country. So that's a really, really important thing. Drill, baby, drill domestically. Peace in the Middle East, peace with Russia, Ukraine. You'll see gas prices go down to $30 a barrel. Charlie, what does that mean? $1.75 a gallon. That's what it means, okay?
So this is what they don't understand. You and I, Megan, and Tucker is in the same category, and they've tried to go after Tucker.
Yeah.
Is that the more you attack our moral character, the more we're going to double down in a direction, because
100%.
Screw you, I don't do it that way, okay?
Right.
This unveiling of the truth behind the war in Iran is by no means an assault upon the Jewish people, especially as many Jews themselves stand against both this war and the conflation of their faith with political Zionism. In the end, all are entitled to believe as their hearts lead them. Yet, the troubling reality remains. There is a visible effort to seize Christianity and twist believers into instruments of Zionism. This no soul faithful to Christ can abide. For Christ declared, "Let the children come to me," not "slay them in my name." Moreover, the New Testament speaks plainly. The blessing promised to all nations in Abraham's line flows through Christ and the risen body of Christ is itself the new temple. And Jesus replied, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." John 2:19. This is not a plea for one side against another, for that is not the heart of the matter. As I have echoed since the year's dawn, good people, we are in need of wisdom, a wisdom that is faith of the heart, yet also the spiritual understanding of the mind. Both are required, lest we all become victims